eye disorders.
I'm not saying she can see far, but whatever's right in front of her, she either sees shapes or images.
So if you'd like to donate an organ, hospital officials say you can just go online to find out how, or when you renew your driver's license. Some incredible stories there. Joining us now, two experts in this important field. They are Dr. Ernesto Molmenti, who heads up the transplant department at North Shore University Hospital in Manhasset, and his colleague, Dr. Horatio Rilo, a highly recognized leader in cellular transplantation and the research that goes along with that. Welcome to our show. You know, first off, Dr. Molmenti, tell us a little bit more about that little girl. Everybody loved her, Hudson, and what her prospects for ever seeing again are.
Well, Richard, thanks to organ donation, Hudson's prospects for seeing again are a reality. It's not anymore a wish. She's able to see her parents' beautiful smile, to see the toys, to see the world around us, to see the beautiful sun every morning that comes out.
This is the world of miracles to a lot of people. We all grew up thinking nobody could ever see again. People who had kidney failure would die. People with a bad heart would die. It's all really changing. It's not just hearts and kidneys anymore, right, Dr. Rilo?
No, there is now the ability to transplant the cells that are the main components of some of those organs. I give you the example of what I do, that is clinical islet transplantation. So the pancreas have two components. In one side, the cells that produce insulin that allow you to control your glucose when you eat. And the other components are what help you digest the food, are all the enzymes that, the cells that secrete the enzymes that help you digest the food.
So are you able to transplant cells that somehow stimulate the regeneration of these organs?
Well, it's not about just the regeneration of the organ. Is mainly we can now digest those organs, separate the cells that produce insulin that are just between 1 and 2% of the entire organ, and you can infuse them in the liver, so the liver acts as a surrogate, replace the pancreas. Wow. This in cases of, for example, type 1 diabetes, in patients that are receiving a kidney, they can also receive islet cells, or the patients that have a well-established kidney that they are still diabetic, you can reverse the, the diabetes.
And in some cases, you can avoid a transplant through that as well, right? You can avoid having to have an organ fully transplanted?
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it early on, but you have, of course, the risk of immunosuppression.
Well, that's one of the great risks, infection, and that's one of the great... Is that the biggest obstacle to further developing transplant technology, Dr. Molmenti?
Well, Richard, in addition to immunosuppression, we have to obtain more donors, both live donors and deceased donors. We have to encourage donation. We have to encourage people to be brave and say, I want to donate too.
Well, there is resistance to this, and I think, I remember hearing it from my own parents. They'd say, why would you want to give away your organs from your body, after they bury you? That's creepy. That's what people think sometimes. How do you answer that?
Well, let me first of all mention that in deceased donors, people who have died and donate the organs, by the time we procure the organs, the individual is both legally and religiously dead. We perform a surgery on a cadaver, and as such, there's no pain that they feel. Not only that, by donating organs, they can save many, many lives.
Well, you saw that mother there. Her son had signed up to be an organ donor. He was killed in an accident in Ireland, and so he'd already made that decision for the family, and they went ahead with it. And she said she never really understood what a difference it would make in her life to be able to touch another person whose heart was her son's heart.
Correct. These are heroes that live among us. They are part of us. They're like all of us. And we can all become such heroes by deciding to donate.
Yeah, where does this go? In science fiction, everybody talks about a brain transplant. You make jokes about that, right? Some people would say, oh, yeah, I could use that. But is that realistic, that we could actually be moving down to the point where a person's brain is damaged and something could be transplanted to help them there?
Richard, we have to defy the undefiable and challenge the system. It's rebels that make the world progress. So we have to aim to be as far ahead as we can and never say, no, it can't be done. We always have to think about the future and aim for more.
Well, you astounded me when you came in this morning. You said that they've actually done head transplants in animals?
Correct, in animal models. There have been cases of transplanted heads.
What would be the application of that, possibly, Dr. Rilo?
Just experimentally has been done in dogs several years ago. You know, of course, there are ethical implications of transplanting a head. I'm not saying that's possible, but there are a lot of ethical implications that need to be considered.
So, I mean, that's a little far afield right now. For most people, we're talking about organs that fail on people. And if you can donate a healthy organ and you're a good candidate for it, you're a match, then you can save a life. So let me ask you, Dr. Molmenti, for people who are out there who wanted to do this, how do they sign up? How do they do this?
We can sign up by, when we renew our licenses, our driver's licenses, we can agree to donate. We can call the Live On New York, that's the New York Organ Donor Bank, and sign up there. Or we can go through different means. For example, there's a project by the Boy Scouts at the present time who are recruiting donors. And Richard, not only you can donate after death, but you can be a live donor.
That's true, and that's one of the amazing developments as well. Well, thank you so much for filling us in on this. We know there's a critical need, and I'm sure some people are going to respond. Thank you for the life-saving work you've both done. Dr. Ernesto Molmenti and Dr. Horatio Rilo from North Shore University Hospital in Manhasset, thank you for talking with us today.
Great to be here.
Our pleasure. And when we return, keeping kids safe on the school bus, the new security cameras that are keeping track of bus drivers and the other vehicles on the road.